Every morning, you spend your energy trying to move your child. You repeat yourself. You remind them. Again. You negotiate terms you never agreed to. And then, when none of that works, you escalate. And by 8 a.m., before you've even left the house, you're exhausted. Not because mornings are hard, not because your child is difficult, but because you are manually managing something that should be running automatically. Here's the uncomfortable truth about the way most family mornings are built. If your routine depends on your voice, it will eventually require yelling. Not because you're an angry person, not because your child is broken, but because a voice-dependent system has no other place to go when it fails. Volume becomes the only lever left. So the real question isn't, how do I stay calm in the chaos? The real question is, why is there chaos at all? Here's what most parents believe is happening during a chaotic morning. My child won't cooperate. And here's what's actually happening. Your child is drowning in decisions they don't have the cognitive capacity to manage at 7 a.m. Every unstructured morning hands a child a stack of choices. A stack that would exhaust any adult by 7 a.m. What to wear. And when to start choosing. Whether to eat now or in a few minutes. Whether the parent giving the instruction is actually serious this time. What happens if they don't move? What comes next after that? That's not a child being defiant. That's a child experiencing decision overload in an environment that was never designed to reduce it. Here's a principle from behavioral science that most parenting advice ignores entirely. Confusion creates resistance. When humans, adult or child, face ambiguity about what they're supposed to do, they stall. Not because they're lazy, because the path forward isn't clear enough to take. Children have lower decision capacity. The brain system responsible for planning and self-regulation, called executive function, is still under construction. Combine that with sleep inertia, that biological grogginess where the brain is literally running at half speed right after waking up, and asking them to self-direct in an unstructured morning environment isn't parenting. It's a design failure. Volume is compensation for missing structure. Every time you raise your voice in the morning, your house is sending you a message, not about your child's behavior, about your system's design. And the answer to that is not emotional. When it's structural, this changes everything about how you approach the problem. Before we get into the system, we need to address the word in the title of this video, lazy. Because here's how that word lands for most parents. It sounds like an excuse, like a permission slip to check out, like a justification for doing less. That's not what we mean, at all. In the context of morning routines, lazy doesn't mean careless. Lazy means energy efficient. The most effective leaders in the world, whether they're running companies, military units, or high-performing teams, don't personally manage every moving part. They design systems so the moving parts manage themselves. That's not weakness. That's sophisticated leadership. Weak systems require constant enforcement. Strong systems make enforcement unnecessary. You're not a bad parent. You're a good parent running a bad system, a system that extracts maximum effort from the person at the top while producing minimum output at the ground level. The shift we're asking you to make isn't from engaged to disengaged. It's from manager to designer. Because once you see the morning as a design problem, not an emotional one, your entire role changes. You're not becoming passive. You're becoming unnecessary. Leadership removes friction before conflict begins. That's what this system is designed to produce. You learned loud. You can design quiet. So let's build the morning that doesn't need you. The system has 3 components. We call it the 3D lazy parent system. Design, default, detach. Design removes confusion from the morning before the morning begins. Default removes the need for reminders by making behavior automatic. Detach removes power struggles by removing your urgency from the equation. Each one is a layer. Together, they create a morning that runs on its own architecture, not on your vocal cords. Let's go through each one. You don't fix mornings in the morning. Read that again, because it's the single most important structural truth in this entire video. Every chaotic morning was designed the night before, just poorly. It started with a bedtime that didn't give their developing brain enough rest to actually function. Then, the clothes weren't chosen. The bag wasn't packed. Nobody decided what breakfast was. The sequence of events existed only inside your head, invisible to everyone who needed to follow it. Design means removing confusion from the environment before anyone wakes up. Here's what that looks like in practice. Clothes are pre-selected the night before, chosen, agreed upon, placed. The decision doesn't exist in the morning because it was already made. The school bag is packed before anyone goes to bed. The bag is by the door because that's where it always goes. Always. Shoes have one location. Fixed. Always. Breakfast is predetermined. One option, pre-decided, possibly pre-prepped. When children wake up knowing exactly what comes next, they don't stall at the starting line. And the morning sequence, wake up, dress, eat, shoes, bag, doors, is visible. A chart on the wall, icons for younger kids, a simple ordered list for older ones. Visible sequences eliminate the question, what do I do next? Entirely. Here's the behavioral principle underneath all of this. People follow the path of least resistance. Always. Your job as a designer is to make the right path the easy path. When everything has a place, resistance has nowhere to hide. Design is the foundation. But even a designed environment can fail if nothing in it happens automatically. A default is what happens when no one intervenes. And in a well-designed home, that default is motion. The next right thing happening because the environment expects it and signals it, without anyone saying a word. Most parents operate like push systems. They push their children through each step with reminders, prompts, warnings, and countdowns. The energy runs in one direction, parent toward child. And the moment that energy stops, so does everything else. A default-based morning is a pull system. The environment does the pulling. Here's what defaults look like in practice. A visual routine board shows your child where they are in the sequence and what's next. They don't wait for you to tell them. The board tells them. Consistent timing cues create expectation. When breakfast happens at the same time every day, the body stops waiting for a prompt. It just begins. Music transitions are underused and extraordinarily effective. A specific 10-minute playlist signals it's time to get dressed. You might be the one who presses play, but then you step back. The music is the boss now. When the playlist ends, dressing should be complete. This is not abstract. It works because it replaces a parental voice with an environmental cue that carries zero emotional charge. The music doesn't get frustrated. The music doesn't negotiate. The music just plays. A fixed breakfast start time means everyone knows. When the clock hits this number, we sit. Not when the parent announces it. When the clock hits the number. Environmental signals, lights on in a specific order, a visual timer on the counter, a morning checklist by the door. All of these make behavior happen because the environment expects it, not because a person demands it. Defaults beat reminders. Every single time. Because reminders are powered by you. Defaults are powered by the system. And systems don't get tired. You don't push the routine. The routine pulls. That's the shift, from enforcer to architect. But there is one place where even the best designed system can collapse. And it's not in the environment, it's in you. Here's the pattern that quietly destroys every morning system parents build. The system is running. The environment is designed. The defaults are in place. And then your child doesn't follow the signal, and you feel it. The clock ticking, the deadline approaching, the familiar fear of being late, the frustration of having done everything right and still watching it slip. And so you step in. You remind, you warn, you escalate, you rescue, and the moment you do, the system collapses. Because the system has learned, as it always has, that if it waits long enough, you will take over. Detach means this: stop carrying urgency for both of you. Your child's urgency, or lack of it, is not your emergency. A child who misses something real because they didn't follow the system is a child learning exactly what the system needed them to learn. That lesson is faster, cleaner, and more permanent than any lecture you will ever give. Miss the bus? Real inconvenience. For a teenager, maybe they walk. For a first grader, you still drive them, but because you lost work time, they lose their morning car privileges. No music, no tablet, just a quiet ride so you can make work calls. The point isn't to abandon them, the point is that the system holds the weight. Didn't eat breakfast in time? The kitchen is closed, and they get a boring plain granola bar for the car ride. No emergency pancakes to soften the consequence. You maintain the boundary, but you avoid causing a biological blood sugar meltdown. Left the bag by the door? They walk back from the car to get it. You don't fetch it for them. These are not punishments. These are the natural outputs of a system that has weight. You don't rage. You don't rescue. You observe. You let the system hold the boundary. And you stay calm because you designed an environment that doesn't require your emotional energy to function. The system teaches faster than lectures. That's not detachment from parenting. That's the most effective form of it. We need to be honest with you about something. You are going to have mornings where you raise your voice. even after you build the system, even after it's working, even after you've seen the quiet mornings. You are going to have a morning, probably more than one, where everything falls apart and your old response comes back. That's not failure. That's habit. Habits don't disappear because you understand them. They change because they're replaced, slowly, through consistent repetition of a different pattern in the same environment. What separates parents who build lasting systems from parents who build temporary ones is what they do after the difficult morning. Don't process the emotion. Analyze the system. Ask 3 questions. What depended on my voice today that shouldn't have? What design failed? What was missing from the environment that created the confusion? What default was absent? What should have happened automatically that didn't? Answer those questions. Fix the system that night, not tomorrow, that night. Because the morning is already gone, but the next one is still designable. Leaders repair systems, not people. A yelling morning is not evidence that you failed as a parent. It's data about where your system still has gaps. Treat it that way. Here's the part most parents never think about. When you design the morning environment, you're not just solving a logistics problem. You're giving your child a lived demonstration of how leaders operate. Children don't absorb what you tell them. They absorb what they live inside. A child who grows up inside a well-designed system learns at the cellular level. That structure creates freedom. That clear expectations reduce anxiety. That authority doesn't have to be loud to be real. That the most powerful response to chaos is not an emotional one. It's a design one. Think about what that child looks like in 15 years. In 20, when they're under pressure at work, do they react or do they redesign? When they're leading a team that isn't performing, do they escalate or do they look at the system? When things go wrong in their own home, do they raise their voice or do they ask what's missing in the environment? You are not just engineering a better Tuesday morning. You are setting a template for how your child processes difficulty, assumes leadership, and builds environments for the people who depend on them. You don't break generational patterns by promising to be calmer. You break them by designing better systems. That's the real work. And it starts on a Sunday night with a bag by the door and a breakfast already decided. You are not a loud parent. You are a parent running a manual system. And manual systems always require yelling, because they have no other lever. But you now know what the alternative looks like. Automate the morning. Reduce the decisions your child has to make before 8 a.m. Design an environment that does the directing. Build defaults that create automatic motion. And then, step back and let the system hold the weight you've been carrying by yourself. The mornings don't have to feel like management. They don't have to start with tension and end with guilt. They can be quiet. They can be functional. They can run, and you can watch them run, because you built something worth watching. You learned loud, you can design quiet.